Welcome back to another Fast Five. You're going to notice a little change up this time. Harrison and I really try and keep it close to only 5 beers.
Ooh.
Although we do go a little past that. So get ready for a story about sexy nuns, janitors, vampire pirates, and Italians doing Italians.
Let's go check it. Holy guacamole! We're back, you're back, everyone's here!
This is definitely the place to be.
We're, of course, talking about Beer Me That Movie. Hopefully, you're in the right place.
Yes, Beer Me That Movie, the cheap firework of podcasts.
That's right. You never know what's going to happen. Will we dazzle you with spectacle and wonder, or leave you scarred for life, crying at a barbecue somewhere?
The only way to find out is to keep listening as Harrison and I try and figure this out.
Woo! All right. Before we get to the fun, though, let's take a moment and do the thing everyone does on podcasts. Remember, like, subscribe, please. It really helps us. And if you haven't headed over to YouTube yet, we're doing something we're calling a movie cast. So it's the same exact podcast you're listening to. So if you're in traffic right now, don't open up YouTube and get into an accident. It's just you. It's not just us sitting here, though, on the podcast and 2 dudes at a mic is kind of boring to watch. We're doing more, and really Jon is doing more. He's editing all these amazing clips into the show, images, animations. So it's kind of like a visual experience beyond just 2 dudes hanging out in front of some mics. So if you want to feel like you're on acid, but you can't be because you're at work, maybe the movie cast on YouTube is for you.
It feels like I'm on acid was the first feedback I got after a video I made for someone.
It's amazing.
Great.
You never know what's going to show up. Jon always has me laughing with the movie casts. If that's not your thing, though, don't worry about it. We share a lot of that fun stuff on YouTube, too, or Instagram, rather, and now TikTok as clips. So, yeah, follow us there if you haven't. All Beer Me That Movie. That's all you need to know to find us on the interweb. But, yeah, like, subscribe. Tell your friends. If you're laughing, your friends are probably laughing. You guys are friends. You like the same stuff.
Hopefully. No one's laughing at each other except us. You can laugh at us.
Laugh at us as much as you want.
It's good. Bring us to Thanksgiving. Get out of all the it's not even close to Thanksgiving. Anyways, you got to be planning ahead for that.
That's right.
Weird
ahead.
Political argument you're going to have.
Your escape now.
The turkey's too dry. And also, what do you think? No.
no.
Is it weird that elections seem to always fall around things? Like, did they do that on purpose? Take this joyous feast and then ruin it
every 4 years?
America's 2 old people battling in a football tournament?
That's right. Ridiculous.
Anyway, so let's jump into last week's recap of our first, I'm going to call it an assassin movie.
Love it.
That's probably not a genre on Netflix, but it will be once you start to process The Quiet Legend, which was based on a beer from Single Hill Brewery, who have some amazing, I checked into them. A lot of their beer names would have been fun movies.
Ooh, all right.
We landed on Quiet Legend. Harrison, I'm going to pitch it your way. What did you think after recapping?
Yeah, it was fun. I mean, we did Quiet Legend. Before that, obviously, Motivation to the Heart. So 2 kind of thriller, serial killer, assassin-y movies as back-to-back features, which was fun. I think we kind of like those movies, if we're honest with ourselves. And we got great feedback about both of them, so that was really appreciate that. But I like that this one had a little bit of magic. The magical knife, the Quiet Legend itself, that was fun. Reminded me a little bit, had brief, distant echoes of Ice Melter, which is still one of my favorites. But that was cool. But it had that kind of Assassin's Creed meets Wanted vibe to it, with a little bit of some supernatural stuff thrown in there, which I'm always fighting not to do that in a movie. I'm always fighting to not make the main character basically Neo or Luke Skywalker or whoever. The sexy nun. But yeah, but it was fun. It was cool. And yeah, we're kind of, whether we realize it or not, like make it a home for ourselves in these little thriller action movies. We've done quite a few already. But this week, hoping for maybe a rom-com. We never know. It'll probably be some kind of sci-fi space opera, but won't until we do it. Yeah, but I don't really have any notes. I liked what we did. You know, I think it was a cool beer, cool idea, kind of evolved nicely. Yeah, what do you think, John? Any thoughts, comments, updates?
So, I mean, no, I agree with you, Harrison. I think I'm proud of what we made. Obviously, looking back on it, if this was going to become a real film, I would spend 3 years researching assassins.
Right.
I'd probably want to join the Secret Service for a little bit.
A lot of history we made up.
That's the easy way out. So the first Secret Service agent was actually George Washington's wife, Martha.
Right.
But I think the one thing I wish we would have had time for, and I guess it's our podcast, we have all the time in the world, but
yes.
You know, there's a limit to everyone's listening capacity, mine included.
Yes.
But finding ways to tell more of a story, like I feel like we made the story about the Secret Service agent and less about the actual quiet legend dagger. So if I was making this film, I would hire the Matrix special effects guy, and half of the movie would just be that dagger killing people throughout history. Yeah. Like, you know, like just cool looking shots.
Right, exactly. Some impossible dagger deaths now explained. I don't know any off the top of my head, but some crazy assassinations. How did that happen? It doesn't make sense. It was the quiet legend. I like that. We could have some more fun with augmented history a little bit. All right, cool.
So getting through the recap of last week, of course, if you're watching and you got recap of your own, hit us up on social media. Harrison literally survives on that stuff. He hasn't eaten food in 3 weeks.
That's right.
So let us know what you think about it or what we got coming down the pipes today. I'm going to pull up the old Drunk People Twitter.
It's that time.
Before that, Harry.
Yeah, that's right. Well, John heads towards Fast 5 Lane. I wish I remembered what road they raced on and all the Fast 5 movies.
Japan Road.
That's it. Tokyo Drift Boulevard. Let's talk about the beer we're drinking. So this week we have Fiesta Lime Lager from Casita Brewing up in Wilson. The good, cool, awesome Casita folks who we've been enjoying since before they even opened their own location, and they were brewing around wherever they could find some tank space. This is a lime lager. It's got tahine. Is that how you say that, John? Tahine?
Tahine, if you want to sound like
got
a hipster.
Cool. Lime, black pepper, and chili peppers in it, but it's like a watermelon lime lager. It's amazing. It's delicious. John shared it with me, so I appreciate that, John.
It was hard
amazing.
to get. My wife loves craft beer more than anybody watching this podcast, myself included. And she's always saying, like, oh, why don't you share this beer with me after I'm done working? It's like a 33% triple, quadruple IPA with bourbon splashed in it.
Right.
This beer is what, 4.2?
4.5, I think. Yeah, something like that.
She hates when I drink this beer. I had to go buy my own just for the podcast, and it was a 4-pack, but we've only got 2 left for the show tonight,
somehow.
Harrison. It's delicious. Thanks,
delicious.
Casita.
Happy to get what we can, and we'll enjoy it. But again, as always, that's not the beer we're going to make movies about tonight. It's just kind of fueling John and I as we rip through Drunk People Twitter and try to find that beer. It's out there somewhere. You've already had it. Whoever checked it in, we're just going to go find it. Let's head off to Drunk People Twitter. Let's see what we can find tonight, John, on the good old Wheel of Fortune, the good old spinny spin.
Yeah, we're going to start tonight with a spin because that's my favorite way to find the first beer.
Just let luck, let destiny and fate hand us a Rubik's Cube first.
Like all things Destiny, sometimes I intertwine if I'm spinning and I see a good one. Ooh, and that's where we're going to start tonight.
Oh, boy.
So, Harrison, Dennis P., our untapped friend, checks in a beer from Bent Shovel Brewing.
Nice.
Called Tip Your Server.
Tip Your Server. Ooh, tip your server. The pun machine just veered me into dangerous territory. Tip.
It does not say give your server the tip.
Right. But one may apply, something might be implied there. So a couple things. Let's think about this. We have tip. What could be a tip? Obviously money, but also like a clue or a hint to something. tip your server. Also, flipping something, tipping something over. What do you have? You had your snap, your light bulb moment.
I did have a light bulb moment, but then I started thinking about a movie where a guy just tips things over,
servers, flipping people over in town. He wants to be an amateur wrestler, and he can't have anyone to spar with, so he just starts tackling the town.
Server, they're the hardest ones to tip over. They're so nimble.
They're on their feet all day. Low center of gravity, a lot of them. Because of that, and the thick shoes they have to wear.
Oh God, Jimmy, you just got the luchador sat in your section. Good luck, stay frosty.
He's out for blood. All right, and he finally meets his match with some server, and they have a battle inside a Denny's. What did you have?
So as a server, yes. I've done this before, and the worst. Sometimes people will leave no tip. It sucks, but you're what? There are no tip people.
I'm ready.
Sometimes people will leave like a note that says, I was going to tip you infinity dollars, but you messed up my salad dressing, so I hope your family drowns. Not a good tip. Sometimes people will leave a tip and it's like actually advice. Usually you only get this from usually only get it from an old man that you're like, sure. I knew I shouldn't even let you in this place.
Fixed income. He can't do anything. It's not his fault.
This could maybe be the movie about an old man that is leaving these little bits of advice for his servers.
Okay.
And it almost tells like the story of a teacher.
Okay.
Where it's about him, but it's also about the lives he's affected along the way.
Okay.
So he's been tipping these, like he told a guy in Detroit, he's like, hey, buddy, quick tip. You should buy all those houses that are going for nothing because in a couple of years you could rent them out to people and make some money. And now that guy is the scumlord. Maybe he owns a lot of property.
Right.
I don't know. That might not be it. That might not be it, but I like the sort of pun on.
I like that. How about I went a completely different way?
Okay, let's go.
How about this? I can't think of the name of the movie right now that this reminds me of. John, you will probably remember as I start to spin this, but it's not. So how about this? This is the kind of the thing I've concocted is it's a server kind of there. It's a, let's say, last day of the month, second to last day of the month in a rundown kind of crummy place. Okay, sure. Kind of sounds like waiting.
You got goaded.
But like the execs come in or news comes down from the top of this chain that there's running a promotion for the waiters. And if collectively they can generate, $3,000 in tip between Friday and Saturday night, they all get a bonus of $1,000 or something like that. And so that's a big deal, obviously. Everyone's excited. Everything's kind of going okay, except for one server, our protagonist, who maybe they're new or maybe let's say their girlfriend just dumped them. Let's put them down in the dumps a little to start. Usually on their game, super distracted, and we kind of follow them over the Friday night and Saturday night shifts, and they're zoom in a Saturday night. It's almost closing time, and the manager comes in and like, hey, we're only $25 away if you can get that guy. And that guy's had the steak and he's 5 margaritas. Like, he's easily going to leave you $25. It should be 50. Jimmy, finish that table, finish it strong.
Yes, I like this like a car salesman.
And we're all $1,000 richer. And let's say calamity strikes, like either Jimmy messes up or actually maybe he doesn't. Maybe he does everything he thinks. Guy gets up to leave, no tip. And so what the movie is, that's just the first maybe 10 minutes, is this like almost like there's that movie where the guy he's like got to keep taking meth so he doesn't die, but he's running to find the cranked. There we go. Something like that. So the movie is Jimmy hunting down this old guy through town to be like, why the hell didn't you give me the tip? You cost us all $1,000. You ruined my night, my life. I was going to fly across the country to try to win my girlfriend back. But because you were just a stingy jerk, I did everything right. That was his goal, but he just gets met with, like, his car breaks down, dogs chase him, he's wanted for an arrest warrant in another state for rolling through a stop sign 5 years ago, never paid the ticket. Like, all this crap falls on Jimmy tonight, and he's got to, like, wade through that just to try to catch up with this guy. And I don't know how it ends, if it turns out the guy just, like, forgot or he was a jerk and Jimmy beats him up and takes the $25, although I'm sure the credit card company would have something to do with that. I have no idea how it ends, but it's this race against time for poor Jimmy to figure out why the heck this Scrooge of a person didn't tip him. well, of course, find out more about himself and doesn't even really like this girl and blah, 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 blah.
Maybe to add a little bit of drama to it. Like I like what I'm not putting down what you were doing.
Got it.
But Jimmy's got that table. It's like a businessman.
Sure.
He's just talking about, we just slunk a big merger.
Right.
I'm going off to golf and such and such tomorrow.
Oh, I like it. Here we go.
Don't be a sissy with I want some butter on that steak. Show me the butter. And he's living life high on the hog. And Jimmy goes to close out the tip, and the dude just slumps, passes out, has a heart attack, dies or something.
Oh, and he can't.
So, but he has the pen in his hand, but he's like, oh man, Jimmy, you were great. So he passes out with the pen, and then it's like, should we just go ahead and write it in there?
Right.
And maybe the older guy who's training him, he's like, I'm not looking. You should put 85 down there, maybe 100. We're taking care of a dead man. This is traumatic.
Exactly right. We got to get him into the alley quick. I'm like, no, we need to get rid of the body. What are you talking about? Why are you going
just
there?
Put 100 in there and sign it. He won't remember. I promise he won't remember. So they do it. And then the guy goes to the hospital. Jimmy and the whole staff gets their $1,000, but now it's like blood money.
Ooh, yeah.
And the guy's family isn't well off, or something's going on there. And Jimmy now what's Jimmy gonna do with this grand? Like, does he go see the guy in the hospital, and how's he feeling about himself, knowing that he really only took a few bucks? The guy said he was going to tip him a lot anyways.
Right. He was mid-signing. I like that. I see there could be so many ways we take the story. It could go exactly like that. It could even, as he's signing and then keels over, they don't know what to do, and then someone suggests, which this isn't a law, of you got to find his next of kin, you can't sign for him, but his daughter or sister, they could finish this deal. And so now he has until midnight when they have to back out. Exactly. To go frantically go through town and maybe cross state borders and whatever to find this guy's family, to be like, your dad just died, but also he was going to give me $100 so I get $1,000.
He really needed to finish signing this. Why didn't he sign it? I'll tell you when I meet up with you.
After you sign, I'll tell you whatever you want. So I love that. I don't quite know where it goes. I think we have the beginning and the middle and all that jazz, but we don't have the end, which is okay. But I think that's a lot for Tip Your Server. I like that. It feels good. It feels fun.
That might even be on the bubble when we get towards the end of the Fast Five.
I like it. That's a good way to start with a contender.
Nice. All right, well, we're going to take a look through Untapped and find some more here.
Let's keep going, but I like where we're beginning. Our brains are working.
So our next beer up is going to come from Matt T.
Okay.
One of my favorite beer names of all time, from Victory Brewing Company.
Great brewery, great beer.
DirtWolf.
DirtWolf. Well, so obviously my first thought is Teen Wolf, but let's just keep that on the back burner for a second. It may not even come into play here. Dirt Wolf. Is that mean something? If you're a dirt wolf, are you hungry and willing to get dirty to get your bone? Ready to
go anywhere for that bone.
That's right. We've all been there.
When I was a beer buyer for a grocery chain, one of the guys that sold me beer, so he sold Victory, was one of his brands.
Yeah.
And I loved Dirt. It was one of the first IPAs I loved.
I remember.
And he still, to this day, we're talking 15 years later, still sees me in the streets and he'll call me Dirt Wolf.
Oh, so you're
the greatest compliment I've ever been given.
This is your origin
I don't know how
story.
I earned it. It's I was just a kid that liked IPAs.
Right. I love that. So maybe this is too obvious. I mean, there's a play here for a superhero movie, so kind of like Teen Wolf. Maybe that's too close with Dirt Wolf. But what would his superpowers be?
Can't get Michael J. Fox anymore.
Is a Dirt Wolf, man? Is this the story? Okay, so you have, man, we do a lot of movies about drug runners, but you write what you know. So isn't it like a mule? A mule is someone who's carrying drugs over the border.
Yep.
So maybe and there's wolves and
Dirt
sheep.
Wolves carry that under the border?
I was gonna say, so maybe if you're lucky to be a mule and work for the cartel, and that means they won't kill your family and you get to have a job.
Might not.
Yeah, right. Exactly. There's At least you live in that fantasy for a little bit. But like, and then you have like the wolves or the coyotes that like move people over. They're even more valuable in like the chain of drug jobs. You've got the mule, then the coyotes, but then like at the top, like only one every couple of years we find a real good dirt wolf, one who can like make it through the tunnels and do all this stuff. And it's the story of some kid who's kind of roped into it to save his family and becomes the greatest dirt wolf ever. I don't know who would buy a movie about a great drug dealer, but maybe they would if there's more to his life there.
I mean, it's not the movie I wanted to make. I was excited about the name, but you could turn it maybe like he's a dirt wolf. He is dirt wolf. He gets the shipments into the United States that other people can't.
Right, somehow.
And the cartel loves him for that, so he's well taken care of. But his passion is bringing people into the United States, which is really hard to do even the legal way. So he takes his dirt tunnels and he brings he's like, bring me your kids under 7 that can still read good, and I'll bring them into Texas. I got people out there that also take my drugs, and then I also force these kids on.
You made me think of something though. You had a good. So how about this? Okay, cool. So he's doing these things, bringing drugs, bringing people over, always from Mexico into the U.S. And then one night he meets, let's say, some woman at a bar or whatever, is approached by her. She seems to know more about him than she should. And she basically gives him an offer he can't refuse to bring her into Mexico, which he's like never done. And why do you want to go there? And she's very secretive about it. And so that's why we're telling this story, is that like this has never happened. What does this woman want? And it could turn out that she's like a CIA spy or whatever, an assassin, another assassin movie. But like going to she wants to kill the cartel leader. That's her job. And whether a government put her up to that or she's doing it because of what they did to her family or whatever, we can figure that out. But now this guy who was seen as like, had a bright future in the cartel because of how good he was, has to choose between his future at the top of a drug, cartel, or does he help tear it all down and maybe free himself from a life he never wanted in the first place? So kind of, he's got a choice to make.
It makes me think of that Denzel Washington movie where he was protecting the girl, but everything's reversed and it's nothing like that movie.
Okay, but I think I know which one you're talking about.
My first thought was she's running away from something, but then what happens when we get to Mexico? Plot's over. Right. So I like the idea that maybe the cartel wronged her. Killed her husband or something like that. So she's going over there to exact her revenge. She's like a 27-year-old female Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Yes.
And the cartel's about to catch hell.
Even better.
The whole soundtrack's like Misdemeanor Elliott and Cardi B.
I'm ready for that. That'd be a great time. It'd be fun. It's another assassin movie. We've really found our home here. That's okay though. But it turned out better than I thought it would. I didn't know what DirtWolf was going to be. I'm happy with that. It could be anything though. That we could make 90 movies called DirtWolf.
True.
It's one of those names that can be, I feel we can go wherever with it.
DirtWolf was fun to play with, but I don't think it's the one for tonight.
No, it's not. We can't do another assassin movie. Even though I'm going to keep suggesting them. It's only me to blame if it happens. All right. Let's move on to the next one.
All right, so I think you're going to like this next one coming up from Greg K.
Okay, Greg, what do you got?
Made by Drekker.
Ooh.
This movie, I'm going to pronounce it the way I think I should.
Yeah.
This beer, rather, is called Vampirate.
Wow. Vampirate. This has to be a movie. This has to be.
Vampirate.
I mean, I love this.
It's just a pirate movie with vampires. Done. It's great.
I mean, is this, it could be, I'm sure maybe we're all thinking the same thing. That is what I'm thinking, is it's like, but maybe it starts off in like present time. How about this? Ooh, I just got a flash of this whole movie, John. Something just
Love when it works like
struck
this.
me from the deep
Got
dark.
Vampirate bit, and they took your gold.
Right in my peg leg, which does nothing for me or them. That's where I store all my blood, actually. Okay, so it starts in present day, though, a history class or maybe like a scuba diving class, and they're on a boat about to go diving into the water at an old shipwreck, and it's not Blackbeards, it's Brownbeards, whoever, some cool pirate.
Fictional.
Died in the late 1700s, shipwreck. Mysterious, though. There's no shoals here. There's no reef. Wasn't attacked by, a Spanish fleet or a English fleet. Just sank some night, as far as records can tell. It's hard to dive because of where it is. Water's always turbid, but every couple of years, the Gulf Stream wiggles a little to the west, and lucky day for us. Now's the time we can go dive on this thing. And so that's where it starts. And before they jump in, though, whatever, one of the guys is like, tell me, kind of like Princess Bride, well, tell us, what do you think happened here? And like, well, if you go to the local bars and towns and you ask the right ship captains, here's what they'll tell you. And the story is, what we get to see with the rest of the movie is, it's like a bunch of pirates somehow come across a ship full of vampires, and we can figure that out. And it's this huge, epic vampire pirate battle. Capture a ship, recapture the other, hold the captain hostage, half his mates and crew become vampires, but maybe they fight it somehow, kill a bunch of vampires. Eventually, the ships all sink. I don't know how the vampire ship disappears. Maybe it's a ghost ship. Maybe it's, I don't know, they fly away. We'll figure that out if we need to. But, spoiler at the end is like them diving down there, and of course, there's some coffins in the bottom of that ship with dead, because they're vampires, but the vampires in there, and that's how it ends. The whole dive class gets murdered by ancient vampire pirates at the bottom of the ocean.
Because they're doing their first night dive?
Sure, perfect.
Yep.
There we go. That's
how
how
the vampires can wake up.
They could also just immediately die if they open it during the day.
Let's
Thank
open
you,
it
John.
up and check in on this. It's just an exploding
Screaming
bunch of dust.
Cool, no treasure. But this a creepy old guy screamed at me and then disappeared and turned into sand. This is a great trip. I think my oxygen levels are low.
Is all scuba diving like this? That's what happens if you don't wear a mask, kid.
Yeah, but that would be cool to see pirates and vampires fighting, and maybe there's even more tie-ins we could do with pirate history and vampire history, and
given that we're based in what's kind of like a town of very much pirate lore.
Yes,
I don't know a whole lot about them, but I agree. The fun part of this movie is something like a small gang of vampires that have chosen a life of piracy.
Right,
back when that was cool and bleeding edge technology.
Yes.
And their advantage is obviously they're vampires, so they're pretty much unkillable, but also they attack at night because it's the only time they can be up. Every other time they're below the deck, and they got a couple of like drunkards steering the boat.
Yep.
But maybe there's a pirate that is like the takes him down, like he stabs through the heart or something like that.
Yep. I think we can I'm seeing even more about
with
it.
The wooden leg. That's why pirates have a wooden leg.
The wooden leg. See,
exactly.
Yes, John. See, all these little tie-ins. That's why the wooden legs were important. They wore the eye patch so they could see at night like the vampires could. They'd flip it up and it's a good eye, but it was just trained for darkness all day. They knew they needed to be able to fight these vampires at night. What I was thinking, this doesn't have to be what happens, but it could even be like, there is no other ship. The ship we're on, it's like a ship of, we'll call them pirates. Maybe they call themselves mercenaries, but like the Spanish government hires them to take basically like some missionaries and some prisoners the church wants to disappear to the new world, which they have to stay under the deck the whole time and blah, 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 blah.
Nice.
And so the vampires are the prisoners in the ship that escape somehow, but to like tie it all up with a nice little bow. There could be like a young kid who's with like the missionaries there, who sees it all, sees the mission, and the missionaries maybe know that like they're vampires and how to kill them with the stake and stuff. Although absolutely we're gonna have a pirate with a wooden leg stab the main
probably
bad
played
vampire.
by Danny Trejo.
Love it, right through the heart with his awesome peg leg. But that young kid sees it all. He kind of writes it down. Those books get hidden. And on the boat, now zooming back to present day and this dive expedition, like one of the people on the boat, maybe that's how it starts, is like some guys run to the dock like, wait for me. I'm on this list. You said I could join. Like, I know I called late, but I need to be on this boat. You don't understand. He's like the great descendant of this kid. And like his whole job is like, most of the time that ship will be hidden under the ocean because of how bad the water is. But if they ever take a crew out there to go dive it, you have to be on that ship. There are vampires in the bottom of that thing still. You got to kill them. And so he's the only one that knows what's happening, what they're about to walk into, and has to kill these vampires underwater in some cool epic final battle. So that would be a blast of a movie to watch and
oh my god,
see, and you know,
I'm already thinking about how I can interest Daniel Day-Lewis as playing the
right. Let's get him out of retirement.
Either the lead pirate, vampire,
the vampirate,
or probably the descendant.
Right, and they probably have to win for a while, the vampires, and have it be their vampirate ship, and maybe they keep the kid alive. There could be all kinds of
easy,
twists.
I like the tie-in to say like the vampires were corrupting the church as early as back then.
Oh yeah.
They're like, look, we heard about the new world. Sounds like a lot of fun. we're gonna go. Could you please send some Jesus people to protect us?
Right.
They're gonna make sure that no sunlight gets to us, and almost like what is it, a thrall?
Yeah.
So the whole ship is being sold to the public is like that we're going to save the new world and all that stuff, but really it's the vampires manipulating as they always have, and they come their goal is to come to the new world, and effectively America would have been like the land of blood bags for vampires that all live underground.
Vamp America.
The rivers would still be clean, the forest would still be
full.
No
pollution, just underground covens full of screaming
40
people.
other nations would be landing here all the time. Like, look at this beautiful place. Let's set up camp.
Anybody stay here? Oh God. Let's take shelter in this cave. Gone. That would have been quite the planet. Maybe that planet's out there somewhere, John, just full of vampires abducting people.
I think it's with Transylvania. I think that's what happened in that country.
It might have been. That's right. Might have been. I like that. Vampire would be a blast.
Okay, a little bit of fun to be had there. Could be a fun one to make. Honestly, would be a fun one to make. Let's see if we can grab a couple more.
Oh, yeah.
All right, here comes a fun one for you, Harrison. This beer is brought to us from Stephanie from Weathered Souls Brewing.
Ooh.
Sweeter the Berry.
Sweeter?
No dot, dot, dot. Just Sweeter the Berry.
Is the whole phrase sweeter the berry, juicier the fruit, fresher the fruit?
I believe it's darker the berry, sweeter the juice.
So what's sweeter the berry?
Sweeter the berry, more it costs.
Right. The sweeter the berry, the bigger the flies. I don't know, but we let's play with this for a minute. Sweeter the berry.
Sweeter the berry.
Sweeter the berry. Sweeter. I mean,
it feels like a campy British comedy Netflix film.
Oh, okay.
And it's about Barry.
Sweeter the berry. I did think that too. This is about a person named Barry who like, what were you going to say? What did you see Barry as? Did you have something?
Because I'm trying to think of a movie, there's got to be a change. Either he's a sweet kid and he needs to find his dark side, or he's a dark, haunted kid named Barry who needs to become sweeter. I don't know why. Right. I don't know where.
Right. Or maybe it's just, I don't even think it's he needs to become darker. I think it's, right, Barry is always known as the sweet kid, and that's great until you're 8. And then everyone at the playground makes fun of you for being sweet Barry, the sweet berry, sweet the berry, sweeter the berry, whatever the hell all these old women are calling him because
Sweet little berry.
Right, he comes and picks their berries for them in their garden, or gets them the newspaper, or has tea with them, or whatever when he's a kid, and it's fun. One day he realizes that's not the reputation he wants, and right, maybe he does like try to become more of a badass, but falls back on his sweet instincts too often. And what does that get at? Maybe a girl? I don't know, but
I think this is our second porn.
Oh, so he overcorrects in a surprising way, not by beating people up or robbing banks, but what does Sweet Boy not do? Have sex and put it on the internet. But Barry's gonna go there with the town floozy. Maybe not. He's not 8. Let's say he's way older. He's 18.
Of course.
And
if this movie has a chance at all.
Right. He's been trying everything for a decade to shed this Sweet Berry title, and he can't. And so his last ditch effort is, right, let's turn to porn. And yep, Sweeter the Berry, top of the charts.
Sweeter the berry, darker the juice is what my brain wants that to be. And then it's a story about how like berries rise in the porn world is because no one's ever seen dark semen before.
Barry has kidney failure and prostate cancer. And that's how he finds out on an OnlyFans when some doctor pipes up in the comments of like, you need to immediately go to your walk-in. This is not good.
Get you a minute. No, I'm always safe. Right. No, it has nothing to do with safety here.
This is not impressive, son. You are very, very ill. And then it takes a sad turn.
Sweet little berry.
Sweet little berry.
On 4, what is it? Diabetes machine.
Yeah, dialysis.
Dialysis is He's like, I can still work to his agent.
Berries,
I can still work while they got me hooked up.
In here. We'll put some tarps over the machines. They're loud as a plane. They all got fans on them. They're whirring. I can barely hear you talk. Oh my gosh, that would be something. I don't think we can make it or even talk about it on certain services online, but we did. Yeah, that's fine. We can. I don't know what else I have for Sweeter the Berry. We can just let that one sit on the vine a little longer.
Smart
berry, and but it was a fun attempt.
So our next beer up comes from Andrew C. This beer is made by Two Locals Brewing Company, and it's called Clean Sweep. Probably has something to do with basketball happening right now.
Okay, maybe they're wishful thinking. Although I guess that probably already happened as you're watching this. But Clean Sweep. Clean. So a lot. Yeah, right. So there's the sports reference. We all know that. A clean sweep. You take them out 4 games to none or whatever. But let's go a couple levels deeper here. I mean, is this the story of a janitor who wanted a new start? Is this the story of like some guy on a hockey team and they are up 3-0 and going to win the whole thing, but the night before the last game, all hell breaks loose in his personal life, and it's kind of like the hangover basically happens to him, and he's stuck on a roof somewhere covered in sunburns, just needs
wearing
to
the
get
other
to
team's jersey.
Other team's jersey. Someone shaved his head so they don't recognize what he looks like, and he's got to get to the ice rink or whatever to get to that game, and it's just a trial of friggin' endless errors he's got to move through and then got to play a whole game and win. But of course, through all of his experiences that day, maybe he's a jerk and say, I'll never have I don't need a backhand, never needed it, never will. Fine, I was going right. They can't stop me anyway. And throughout the day learns that maybe it's good to shoot left every once in a while, and that's what wins the game. And I don't know. There's he's gonna transform. That's too on the nose. What's percolating in your brain right now, John?
My first thought was like the story of that Axeman who gets hired by companies that are too chicken to do their own layoffs.
Okay.
So he's kind of like the guy from How I Met Your Mother. He's kind of like what was the name? Bernie? Doogie Howser. He's
Yes,
a
Doogie.
cocky, pompous, young,
Got it.
hotshot kid.
Got it.
He's probably in his late 20s, early 30s, but
Yeah.
he's like he looks like Wall Street. He gets brought
I
in
love
by
this.
maybe he's half protagonist, but then
Okay.
we also have the story of like a new married couple. They're just having their first kid.
Sure.
She finally graduated college. He finally got the job he's been going for. And, they're starting at this company. And then we see that company is brought in the clean sweeper. And so we need to find a way for our protagonists to meet and somehow compromise. And the clean sweeper's like, look, man, I get paid to sweep. And you're no different to me than a piece of dirt.
Right. I love that. And let's add this twist to it. The movie gets juicy. So he goes, Barry or whatever, fires this guy, and then Barry goes back to his office, and they're like, "You're fired. You're done."
Yes.
And he's like, "What the hell are you talking about?" And he's like, "No, we don't need you anymore. You're too uncouth or whatever. What do you I fire people? What am I supposed to be nice?" Like trying to defend himself, but he loses it, and so him and the guy he just fired are both like looking for temp work, and both get stuck as overnight janitors at the same community college, and they have to like become friends. There's a troubled youth there who maybe doesn't talk, and they have to coax some language out of him, and together they all learn how to talk better to blah blah blah.
The sexy nunnery is looking for 2 temp janitors.
Right, gotta clean up after all those messy nuns. The sexy nuns are messy. Okay, something like that, some kind of two worlds colliding, God, I can't think of an example of it, but
I mean,
enemies
that
become
worked
friends.
out better than I saw it
I
going.
like that. I like that a lot.
The sweeper gets fired too.
Yeah, 100%.
My first thought was like the guy who's petitioning for his job, the firee. He's like, look, and the sweeper sees, he's like, dude, you're probably the best salesman, graphic designer, whatever that I've ever talked to. And for me, that doesn't make a difference. You're fired. You're all fired.
Right.
And then the sweeper gets fired. And he's like, man, I'm going to start my own thing, but I need someone. So that is where I was thinking of it going. But I love your idea that they both like. Now it's like Vince Vaughn, and maybe if the sweeper could be in your head played by Michael Scott.
Yes. Steve Carell.
Thank you, Steve Carell.
Yep.
So they both have to show up at this temp agency.
That'd be amazing. Standing in line together.
And now the roles reverse. Like the shiny, pompous Wall Streeter guy is like, I'm not used to being down here.
Right.
In the slums.
He's in a 3-piece suit.
Well,
Everyone else is wearing sweatpants.
You
and
want half my bologna sandwich?
Taco sauce from the night before. Right. This is an unemployment line. Why are you dressed like this, you idiot? Right. They may tell you you're shoveling graves today. Like, why are you wearing a 3-piece suit? What are you talking about shoveling graves? Where's the coffee around here? There's no coffee. Right, exactly. He's just fish out of water. There would be a lot of funny, that could be. And then again, they have to become friends, and sure, they end up becoming friends. And
I don't know the whole plot yet, but I kind of like the bones of that one.
I like the bones of this one too. Clean sweep. That would be, I can see a lot of funny run-ins and a lot of side characters. And all right,
we're not done yet. I think we still got at least 2 more, but this might be the first one that gets pulled back. I don't think we've ever made a feature film from a beer.
We almost did with Rally Point. It was close. But there
Point
always seems to be something, the sexy nun of a movie at the end of these things. That
just around the bend.
There's always one sexy nun you're never expecting. All right.
Okay, up next, Harrison, I hope you're ready for another beer from Joshua, who we talked about, I think, a couple weeks ago.
That's right, Josh.
From DSSOLVR Brewing, The Hustle is Weird.
The Hustle is weird. The Hustle is weird. Okay. All right. So my first thought is, we all know these things, but quick recap. The gig economy is everything. Everyone has 9 jobs now delivering groceries or babies or whatever to people. Great. We all know the standard jobs like the groceries and Uber, and someone will come walk your dog, someone will help do your homework. We got it. So this is some kid again who is like, no, dropped all the groceries at the Instacart delivery, Ubered someone, off a pier, and they drowned. They're almost drowned. Just failed every other app. Rent's due tomorrow. Oh my God, I need to make $800 tonight. How do I do it? And whether it's a magical app on his phone, a magical phone booth, a magical phone book, a creepy guy that just shows up in his hallway.
He's like, I got a gig app I'm trying to launch.
Right.
I'm not showing you my feet.
Right. Right. I've already done that, and I didn't make as money as I was promised. And it's not my feet's fault. Right. And this is where it's kind of a void. I don't know where we're going to go next, because you could go almost anywhere. But like, right, the gig he's going to get, whether it's through this guy at the bar with the app or the magical man who delivers the Chinese food he didn't order, but he eats it anyway and then feels funny. And then all this stuff happens, is a weird side hustle. So this could be like getting rid of dead bodies. And maybe let's start with that for a sec, and we can peel off into something else. But it's like, maybe the guy's pitching it as like, yeah, it's totally legal. After the police come, someone's got to get rid of the bodies. So we do that. We're kind of outsourced from the coroner because they're busy and yada, yada. So it's totally, totally cool. Totally, totally above board. And the kid's like, no fucking way. It's like, well, it pays $1,000 tonight. And the kid's like, all right, great. Where do we go with this body?
Do I have to sign anything?
Right.
Nope.
Absolutely not. And so, as you're probably guessing at home, he kind of quickly learns as they're rolling body number one into a carpet and then like putting it in the back of a Winnebago that maybe this isn't above board. We're not going to the coroner.
Love this.
We're at a small waterfall and we're weighing this body down and throwing it into the river.
I thought we was paying you, kid. Put the bricks in there.
And so so that's probably enough to, and now this kid's in, like, right, he's working for the mob, but he doesn't know it, but so he's committed a crime. What does he do? He needs money. He can't go to the cops. These people are going to kill him if he does. Does he keep disposing of bodies?
I love
And he
this.
just goes through, and that could be the whole movie, where that's it. We don't even need to introduce the supernatural element to it, but we could. There's a version of this movie. There's a version of this movie where it's almost like From Dusk Till Dawn, where like they're throwing these bodies, let's say not the river, like in a pit, and he thinks like someone's gonna cover this up and it'll be the foundation of a house, but like maybe they're feeding a bunch of vampires. We're on vampires tonight, but maybe there is a deeper nefarious purpose to all these bodies and where they're going. So it could easily be not supernatural, and we could just have fun with that. But I always like to sprinkle a little bit of something in there.
If
that's
you go
weird.
back to the original source of the mafia, the Italian Cosa Nostra, you'll know that it was really something small Italian families started doing to protect their families from cryptid monsters.
Oh,
so and of course that happened
treaty
here in America as well,
right?
Where like you bleed on a picture of a saint and then you burn it. All this stuff is really like to protect you as you join this thing of ours. And this kid who signs up for the app, he's like crime scene mafia disposal.
Right.
So his first night, that's it. The hustle is weird, but he's making money.
Yes.
He's got all these like old, I think I can say this, Guidos, like telling him, make sure you grab that body out of the trunk. Make sure there's no noise coming from it. Like, make sure you don't hear nothing.
Wrap it in this kind of blanket.
Throw him in and the kid's like, this is definitely weird. But and then the mobster gives him it afterwards. He's like, you did really good, kid. He puts some cash in his pocket.
Right.
And the kid looks at the cash and he's like, this is only like $200. And then his phone dings and it's like, bing, you just got Venmo'd $1,000. So he's like, this is what I needed. I needed this money, so I'm willing to look past it.
Right.
Days turn into weeks. Weeks turn into months. The kid's got a nicer car. It's fun. Like, we're looking at the mafia. Isn't that bad of a thing? He comes over for dinner sometimes.
People
never look at my wife. If you go to my house and I'm not there, you don't go inside the door. You just knock on the door. You say, Tommy's not home. I'm going away. That's the one rule, kid. But like after a while, he starts to learn like we keep dumping these bodies at the same spot. I could probably find other spots. The guy's like, don't worry about it. Don't worry. You know what? Come along with us tonight off the record.
Right.
And that's where he learns about Harrison's super monster.
Right. Or like even like every time he's supposed to like roll up like a Jesus on an upside down cross and put that like in the blanket as he throws it over, but then one night he doesn't. And like they're like, did you do it? What? And it could be like Satan, the devil, demons. Like
the mob is killing the demons.
Right. Or like feeding this one to like keep it at bay. There could be a whole web of good demons, bad demons, demons that work with the mob, demons the mob kills.
I love this, like Spawn in a way.
Right, it's like Spawn, exactly.
Bronx Tale,
yes.
Donnie Brasco, maybe.
Right.
But
a lot of the people the mob kills aren't people; they're demons.
Which is why they got away for it. For
exactly.
So long.
The government was happy to
These
have
guys
them
don't
working.
have socials.
Right.
Who's that? Beelzebub 7? Nah, get rid of him.
Get rid of him. Throw him in the river. Yeah.
Don't drink the water.
Right. Don't ever drink the water.
But so maybe he messes up. And this is where we learn kind of that this is where the hustle gets really weird. You thought it was weird.
Gets weirder,
We still got 30 minutes left in the movie.
That's right, exactly. And whatever this cryptid, ancient, demon, evil thing is, exactly, now he's got to put it back in the box. So,
as much as I know about Italians, I don't know monsters are afraid, like full-priced items. I'm trying to think of like what Italians are afraid of.
Top two buttons on a shirt. Right, you could, yeah. It's not a long list, but it's a list. So that would be something.
What is this beer called? The Hustle is Weird. Yeah. Right. Love this movie.
All right, so this could be all right. I like this one. I think we're
gonna have a hard choice then. We got The Hustle is Weird, and do you remember the other one?
Well, I liked Clean Sweep. I liked The Hustle is Weird. There were a few others that we'll have to remember. Well, yeah, we've got a tough decision. So we can probably, let's try one more, but we're like right near ultimatum territory.
I think so. If we find one more good one, it's going to be even harder to decide.
I know.
We should be doing this live. But anyways, we can decide.
Live.
We're grown.
We can figure it out. Sure. We can make decisions. All right.
All right, I got to stop on this next beer for Harrison specifically because I know you're a fan of Rush.
Ooh.
This one comes to us from our friend Tom. It's made by Carton Brewing Company.
Nice.
Glittering prizes and endless compromises.
Oh, a classic line from a great Rush song.
Right in the check-in, I love begin the day with a friendly voice.
That's it. Oh, man. Rush. A lot of great memories. Okay, glittering prizes and endless compromises. I wonder if this is a tale as old as beauty pageants are, but I wonder I wonder if it is kind of like the, maybe not an expose. It could be, we've done mockumentary, I think, before, maybe even with the beauty pageant, and there certainly are some good ones out there in the real world, or actual movies about this, but like something to the effect of, Miss America, okay, cool, you win. What does that really mean? And like,
what have you given up to get here?
Exactly. And then now, like after that, what do you have to give up? And how often do people throw that title in your face? And like, well, it's not very Miss America of you to say no to this. Say no to not sponsoring Toyotathon because Miss America, they've always done it.
Toyotathon only happens 11 months out of every year.
Right. If it's not Toyotathon, something's wrong. So something like that, and it doesn't have to be a beauty pageant or Miss America, but that's the bones of the story is you kind of get what you want, but maybe that's not really, and it wasn't really what you thought it was. And that's the story of a lot of our lives,
right?
But it's easy to.
My first thought was that's marriage. My second thought was like a video, or not video, like a game show. Like,
sure.
Drew,
that's another one too.
The Cleveland man, Funny Drew, who took over The Price is Right.
Yes.
Maybe it's glittery prizes, but like, and maybe he doesn't have to like give up, but like, oh, you need to feature Tide. Come on, man. Tide murders kids to put it in their dishwasher detergent or whatever. He's like, Tide's funding us, man. Tide's and talk about that new Ford Colt.
Right. You gotta, right. All that stuff. And it could just be as simple as like, right, you're giving up your time and your life is happening without you as you're this hot shot, right, guy who does Wheel of Fortune now. Is gone 19 hours every day talking to old ladies about how much I think a banana costs. And then and then, right, your kids grow up without you, blah, 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 blah. And that's probably not the movie. That could just be enough of the backstory and like maybe... Right, there'd have to be some incident in his life.
It's the story of Pat Sajak, America's most hated game show host. He's the worst person on TV. I don't care if you watch Fox News or CBS or CNBC.
Right.
Pat Sajak, we all know, is probably a demon.
Yeah.
If not a vampire. So it's a story of him, all his glittering prizes, and the compromise that people have to give up to even be on the show.
Yeah.
He was like, hey, Janice tonight from Willapeka, Pennsylvania. Tell us about your family so I can eat their souls. It's a mockumentary. Right. I don't like Pat Sajak.
Right. Apparently not. I like that. Right. Pat, what do you do to keep your skin so glistening? I can't tell you. I'm sorry. A vino twice a week.
Vanna and I are going to Hawaii again.
Right, exactly. You have something on your lips there. It looks like blood, or it must be just jelly from the donut. Yes, it's jelly from the donut.
A lot of jelly donuts.
That's right. Is that a child tied up in your closet? No, it's the
more donuts.
Okay, well, I know you're limited on time, Pat. So quick questions for you. That would be hilarious. Pat Sajak just eating people to stay young and stay on the Wheel of Fortune as long as possible.
I'd love to make... I mean, right. I don't like actively hate Pat Sajak, but there's a thing happening with me and him.
Apparently.
If I was allowed to make that... If I could just say, like, the guy's name was, like, Matt Mayjack, and I could get away with making that movie, I might just fund it myself.
Right. Oh, I love it. Maybe you'll see that in the real world then. Maybe we'll do something with that. I like it, John. I'm with you.
Now casting kids that look thin.
Or like donuts.
Yeah.
All right, cool. All right, so there's something there. Who knows what it is? That's fun, though. Had to stop on that one with the lyrics itself. So thank you for that, Tom. All right, so I think we're probably in almost like ultimatum land because we have a couple of good ones lined up already. How many more you want to try before we land on the one? What do you want to give us?
I want to try one. I want to say we land on one because I'm kind of in love with two of them already.
Same. I think even three, but I don't remember. Oh, maybe the Vampirate one, Clean Sweep, and
the
definitely
one I
Clean
love
Sweep
the most, and I've already forgotten it.
Tip Your Server was kind of fun. What was the one? Oh, the Hustle is Weird.
Hustle is Weird.
There's a lot there that we could have a ton of fun with.
I've already got my vote locked in.
All right,
if I can remember it. So we'll do an ultimatum. We'll look for one more.
Okay, no, not that one.
Captain Doug. That makes me think of that Hulk Hogan movie where he like came back. He came to present day from the future. Oh man, yeah. Great film.
Shoot.
If when I'm editing this, if I can legally find a clip, I'm going to put it in here.
Good.
When it comes to intergalactic confrontation, no one can beat Chef Ramsay.
Excellent work, Ramsay.
Hulk Hogan, Christopher Lloyd.
I was frozen today.
Suburban Commando.
We got
different
Transatlantic
language.
Creek.
Oh, right. Lips of
Faith from 2017.
Wow.
Victoria's going deep in the closet for that one.
That's cool as heck. I feel like I actually had that in 2017.
Emissary from Hudson Valley Brewing. Thanks, Kurt. Emissary. Well, I don't know the definition of emissary. I assume it's like the person that gets sent out and then gets killed.
But the one that delivered the message, and they say don't kill the messenger, but then he dies. Emissary, a person sent on a special mission, usually as a diplomatic representative, similar to envoy or ambassador. Okay. So yeah, we were on it. So right. So the thought I had was that so time period irrelevant for now, but again the core of this is emissary goes, delivers bad news to the enemy king. Enemy king, instead of killing him, either like lets him go and then he gets to live a life as a troubadour and a free person and we get to follow him around. That's not really a movie. Maybe captures him, tells the other king that he killed him, and then this emissary has a choice, like, do I try to be a mole on the inside or do I fall in love with this culture and the king's daughter and, betray my childhood? So this is and the place I called home for my entire life. So just an emissary trapped between a rock and a hard place.
A man with no home.
That's right. A man with no home is no man at all. The wise camel groomer tells him. As him and the camels all spit at the same time. Right. You hang out here a lot, don't you? What makes you say that? The smell. So The Emissary could be a funny movie. Anyway, so that's
Steve Martin, the Emissary.
Is the Emissary? All right, okay. I could
sent from Cleveland to Cincinnati.
Rival
like with beer.
Okay.
Right? Like there's a Great Lakes Brewery out of Cleveland is like, hey, Steve, our new distribution guy, we need you to go down to Cincinnati. We need you to set up a base of operations for us. We're going to build a tap room down there.
I love it.
And taking all of Harrison's tropes, but he specified no time. So
I didn't. You're right.
We're turning this into 2010.
Love it.
And Cleveland's trying to take over the Cincinnati beer scene.
Ambitious
There's a battle
Cleveland.
between, who is it, Rheingeist down there is pretty big.
Yep.
Steve shows up. He's drinking. He's like, you guys are going to love Great Lakes. We make some great beer. You're going to love Edmund Fitzgerald. It's a great porter.
Yep.
And they're like, dude, you got to check out our stuff. And he drinks some of their beer. And he's like,
oh, shit.
I didn't know craft beer existed in Cincinnati.
Right. Exactly. You guys have a football team, too. You should tell the rest of the world about that. So, okay. I like it. That's a thing. That's Emissary. That's the ultimatum. What are the contenders though? We just went through this.
So the top ones, as I recall, are The Hustle is Weird, and I forget all the others. No, there was The Clean Sweep,
right.
The story of a man that gets hired to fire, gets fired, ends up at the temp agency working next to the guy he fired. Maybe sexy nuns come into play.
I bet there would be.
There was Vampirate, where they go to the ship under the water. It's only revealed once a century, and there's pirates down there.
In the moonlight, the dead moonlight, whatever. Yeah, okay, got it. Vampirate, okay.
There was Emissary.
And Emissary. All right. So those are the ones.
I think in my head, of course, I remember The Hustle is Weird, and Clean Sweep seemed to be like the two divisional champs. There's room for
Tip
an
Your
underdog.
Server was fun, but
Tip Your Server.
Like we could do a lot of funny stuff with what he has to do.
Kind of like Weekend at Bernie, but not Weekend at Bernie's, but like
right.
You got a deadline. You got to get this. A weird sort of comedy. You got to get this check signed so you can collect your tip.
Exactly. So, yeah. That would be fun. But I think I know what Don wants to do. I don't want to stand in his way because I want to see. I want the hustle to get weird. I think we should do that, John. Let's do it.
I can't wait. I'm so glad you picked it. I feel like a wife that just got the curtains she wanted.
That's right. The drapes and the tablecloths are coming next, baby. So, all right, we're going to do that. We're going to do The Hustle's Weird. Yeah. So you got to tune in next week. And just imagine for another week, how weird will Harrison and John get?
We got to go join the mafia. We got to figure out how many cryptids they've been killing. I got to learn what the Upside Down Cross does to keep them dead.
Yeah, we may change that. But
probably going to make some saguts.
Yes, and I'll learn what that is, maybe. But we'll see. And you'll see, too, next time on the feature episode. But thanks for tuning in this week.
Peace.
Oh, yeah. Punch.
Give me your lunch. Give me a lunch, you kid.
That's right. Give me that lunch a bag. I can't do. It's going to be you.
I can't wait for Harrison's Italian.